Join the movement. Go all electric with Pure Electric.
What have you got in that shopping shop?
In a sea of brick and tile project homes in rural New South Wales, Dachshund House seeks to challenge the established paradigm of suburban housing by championing clever, climate-responsive design and reintroducing native landscape to the tired pastoral land on which the house sits. Our clients, Doug and Eliza, both grew up in northwest New South Wales. Having spent a few years living on the coast, they decided to move back to Tamworth, where they have a large extended family, and they brought with them hopes of raising a family of their own. They had firm ideas of white picket fence suburbia being the ideal place to raise said family, and a key driver of their brief was the need for a lush green lawn for future kids to play on, which would be quite a challenge, as when we started the project, Tamworth was experiencing its worst drought on record. They chose to buy a block within a new estate on the outskirts of town called Moore Creek Gardens. Ironically, it was largely devoid of both creek and gardens. This recent shot shows that despite hot, dry summers, cold, frosty winters, and a high diurnal temperature range, with good rain and diligent watering, it's possible to grow a green lawn. But when we started the project, the estate was very much a dust bowl. In contrast to the volume builds springing up around them, Doug and Eliza wanted their home to use as few resources as possible. So the challenge was to create a home on a project home budget with integral green design, which somehow supported a thirsty lawn in times of drought. To help keep costs low, we simplified the form and reduced the floor area from a typical volume build, while retaining construction details that would be familiar to local builders and trades. We maximised the roof area for rain collection, turned down the east and west elevations, and minimised fenestration to those facades. We worked out the maximum lawn size they could sustain that would still support a backyard cricket match. We cut into the form so that every public space and bedroom had a northern aspect, provided deep eaves, and created a cool shaded courtyard in the centre. Within that courtyard we placed a pond, from which evaporatively cooled breezes could be drawn throughout every wing of the house. And finally, we set about providing small windows on the street facade for passive surveillance, and larger windows to the courtyard in the event that distant views to the hills were blocked out by neighbouring development. The most novel environmental strategy of the project is the shaded central pond. Doug and Eliza have recorded temperature data and found that the courtyard is often 3 to 5 degrees cooler than the adjacent spaces in summer, so a perfect place for picnics in the cool, late afternoon. A place to watch the seasons pass from all parts of the house. A place for fun, games and play. A place for adventure. And a hub for all matter of flora and fauna, which has been re-established on the site. As we hoped, it's really become the natural focal point for the whole family, an oasis with the sound of running water, the lungs and heart of the home. Eliza says that in the rental they used to inhabit nearby, they would spend all their time inside, with the curtains drawn and the aircon blaring. But now they are regularly drawn outside when the temperature is kind. And then when it's not, they can still sit inside and watch nature do its thing without human interference. While the house undoubtedly looks quite different to others in the neighbourhood, we like to think it still looks both residential and agricultural, and therefore not out of place. In polite breach of the local DCP and estate covenant, mandating a double car garage, we planned a single garage with additional depth provided for bike parking. One of our greatest joys of the project has been Eliza and Doug's mission to rewild and nurture their land. In contrast to their neighbours' defensive and thirsty lawns, they have planted a native garden to the perimeter and front threshold of the street. It's cool that kids use this threshold to have a constant dialogue with the street. The majority of roof water is retained, and grey water treatment has been installed to take care of the extensive gardens that are replenishing the soil of the site, with Doug's lawn surviving its first frosts and being mowed by a roving cage of guinea pigs. The rear of the property is fast becoming a compost and grey water fed permaculture paradise, complete with edible flowers, bees, veggies and chickens. Recently, Eliza has taken all she's learned in sustainably growing her own food and shared it with her community by establishing Tamworth's first community garden. As the introduction of the courtyard brought with it additional surface area and build cost, we were careful to create internal spaces that were compact in area but big in amenity. Living spaces received raking ceilings, generous openings and a soft material palette, reminiscent of the remnant eucalypt forest 100 metres up the road. Despite an early preference for gas cooking and hot water heating, the clients embraced a 100% electric home with a 6.6 kilowatt photovoltaic system and a smart hot water solar diverter. Integrated joinery could be used for both seating and storage. Consideration was given to specifying responsible materials, including FSC certified timber, 30% fly ash in concrete, and low VOC solvents, paints and carpets. Lots of thought was given as to how to make the day-to-day routines of a busy young family just a little easier. Eliza says, "I didn't realise how much a house could enhance our everyday life and wellness just by being connected to the movement of the sun." She also says, despite talking about it during design, she had no idea how valuable passive solar design would be financially. They needed to use mechanical heating just twice last winter, briefly in the morning before the sun was up. This connection to and harvesting of the sun has allowed the house to perform remarkably well all year round, with this chart demonstrating consistent internal temperatures shown in orange, in contrast to the fluctuating external temperatures in blue. The rumpus was designed to be truly multi-purpose, split from the main living area by a breezeway that helps draw breezes into the courtyard from the southeast. Given the compact living space, family gatherings tend to be held in the breezeway, which can be opened up to the street to keep an eye on kids on bikes, or as a shortcut for visitors to come in and join the party. The bathroom and ensuite split the two wings of the house. To provide those spaces with a connection to the garden while maintaining privacy, we placed a small courtyard on the inside of perforated sheeting in the western facade. Bedrooms were kept simple in materials, conventional in detailing, and compact in area, with luxury provided by northern aspect and a connection to the garden. The master bedroom was provided with a small sheltered deck for the clients to sit and enjoy the fruit of their backyard labours and read a book protected from the western sun. Finally, as the courtyard form necessitated a relatively large circulation area, we detailed oversized doors to the kids' rooms so that the corridor became a shared breakout space. However, in practice, we have been reminded that kids don't need big spaces and often prefer tighter ones, with a scale and proportion that is friendly to them. I'll finish with a quote from Eliza that sums up Dachshund House. "We have a home that suits our needs now and will continue to do so in the future, and we get to show others how achievable and affordable having a sustainable home really is. We are so thankful to Doug and Eliza for daring to be different for the sake of a greener planet. Our hope is that as their family and friends witness the joy that radiates from their home, that more families will choose to seek houses that perform as well as this one."